over the full storage no less. Then there was Mr. Fix's auto repair. I walk in the door, my daddy, he'd say, "What do you want? Don't bother me, I'm busy." He was kind of a crotchety fellow, my dad. The only time I ever saw him happy was when he was sitting around eating pork chops and watching studio wrestling. There'd be cream corn on the side. My mom would wear a babushka. That's because she just had her hair done. It was always on Saturday. She didn't want to get messed up even though she never went anywhere. Right next to Mr. Fix's, there was this place called Huggable Motorcycles, but none of the tough guys wanted to be seen there because they didn't want to admit that they hugged their motorcycles. And then this is the auto district, so maybe I should have went home and changed my shirt. Yeah, I think that's what I did do. It was the auto district, and I didn't want to get my shirt all dirty. It's a nice new shirt. So I went home and I changed into something that I didn't care if I got dirty or not. Walked in the door, my mom said, "What do you want anyway? I'm busy fixing lunch." I said, "Oh, Mom, I just want to change my shirt. You remember how upset the last time you got when I made a model airplane and got glue all over my school shirt?" Then she started screaming at me for that. She's forgotten all about it. Being like a dummy, I had it up in my mind. Well, then I went out to hang out at Johnny Bizarro's Auto Supplies. Johnny Bizarro had the strangest price policy. He charged you $17 for a lug nut, and then he'd turn around and sell you an old junker car for 30 bucks. I'll tell you, you couldn't make head or tail of Mr. Johnny Bizarro's pricing policies. And right next to Johnny Bizarro's is this place called Rent-A-Wreck. That's where all the Johnny Bizarro fixed cars that couldn't make it down the street ended up. They'd go around the block wrecking Johnny, fix them, come right back around and park it in the Rent-A-Wreck lot and leave it there to the piece of worthless scrap. And so these folks over at Rent-A-Wreck would rent you a car. They rent just about anybody a car. They didn't care. All you had to do was put 30 bucks down and never came back with the car. Well, say goodbye, but good riddance too. They always had lots of junk cars in their lot, one more or less, didn't matter. I guess it was sort of like a car treat or something. Yeah, that was the kind of thing that I liked about any time. People like to share. They left their cars out there in the Rent-A-Wreck lot. You wanted to walk off and take it. Just had to put down your 30 bucks. Yeah, that was a big sign too. It said, "In the heart of the auto district," but I think maybe it should have said, "In the carburetor of the auto district," now shouldn't it? Well, you know, you walk up, there's a street behind the main stem, and it was called Regular Street. And it was in between Desolation Street and Slave Road. And you see all these places that nobody ever seen you walk in and out of. Kind of spooky, you know? Like a factory outlet. All they sold was factories, so they didn't have too many customers. That's where all the temp jobs were too. There was Workaday World Temp, and there was Get a Job Temps, and there was Man Picker Temps. And if you didn't make it past Man Picker Temps, well, the next stop was the town dump. It was just down the street. Or you could get yourself a job at Rudolph Brassendale's sawmill. Rudolph Brassendale was the strangest guy I've ever seen running a sawmill. He had his little curly black mustache and his big black stovepipe hat. And he was always tying girls onto the sawmill trestle. I couldn't figure that guy out. He might have thrown him a slam eventually. Well, my mom always said to stay out of Rudolph Brassendale's because she says all the people who work there only have 3 fingers. Well, I couldn't figure that out. I thought maybe they were aliens when they had their show, The Invaders. But as it turns out, they get the fingers just lopped off of that sawmill. It's pretty sad. They also had a store, this pet store next door to the sawmill. And, well, they sold nothing but cats and rats. Now, can you dig that? Cats and rats. Well, I guess they figured if they had too much inventory on stock, they could always feed one to the other. They always had too many rats. And back then, nobody really wanted rats as pets. In fact, back in those days, nobody even ate yogurt. I know that sounds like prehistory, but that's just the way it is. There's also the pet grooming store, Bark and Purr. You always saw some poodle being groomed in the window. I think they used the same poodle over and over because there was just one poodle in the town, and it belonged to the rich old lady who lived up on Nob Hill. And every time she'd want to go to Chicago to get her feet groomed, well, she'd sort of slink back behind the sawmill like she was ashamed to be seen there because it was next to the railroad tracks, and she'd bring her little feet there. So that's about the only poodle you'd ever see. Just so happens I was walking past there, I did see Fifi getting groomed. In fact, they had the dog die perfect. And the big fat lady was jumping up and down and screaming her lungs out. Well, I didn't know what the hell. I mean, you know, you have these little baby chicks on Easter. You used to dye them. Well, I didn't see where a poodle was very much different than a cute little baby chick. I mean, they're both pretty useless around the house. You know what I mean? Well, then there was the Law and Order garden supply store, run by an ex-policeman. And strangely enough, right up from there, right up along past Slave Road near the train tracks, you had all of these really wrong side of the tracks type of operation. We had John Dillinger's gas station. And it was in a pretty good location too. But nobody ever went there. And of course there was a University car wash where I worked, but since I was not working that day, I gave that a pretty wide berth. Didn't want to go wandering through there. Then there was this place called Dishonest John's Used Cars. I can't get the beat of that dog. I guess he figures if he went out and flat out admitted he was dishonest, everybody would be flocking there to buy his cars. But it just didn't work that way. No, there was this place next to it called Geronimo's Cadillacs. Well, it was run by this Indian who struck oil off in Oklahoma. And he'd come out and bought himself a fleet of Cadillacs, and he opened up a Cadillac street show. About the only Indian I've ever seen, except the wooden one in front of the Q Laga guitar, the cigar store just down the street there. That Q Laga wooden Indian, his face was painted red for some reason, I don't know. But the paint was sort of peeling off, so it sort of looked like he had the measles. Yeah, well, I never went much on the wrong side of the train tracks. I used to get down there with me and my school buddies, and we used to throw rocks at the trains as they were passing through, big old freight trains. And I figured we were rehearsing for World War IV, throwing in rocks, but we didn't know it at the time. Yeah, then there was the tractor trailer school. Never saw anybody in there. There was the Rage Warehouse, had a big sign under it, Ira Proof. Then there was this old Valley Notion store called Uncle William's Useless Things. There was nothing but a bunch of little plastic birds that took their beaks in the water back and forth, and those little suede dogs with removable heads you can see in the back seats of cars, all that sort of stuff. That's all Uncle William sold. And right next to that was Pa Kent's General Store. I'll tell you, that stock boy was the quickest stock boy I've ever seen in my life, because you walk in there, you say, give me a can of corned beef hash. Old Pa Kent would get his grapple hook and get that corned beef hash. There'd be a whole row of tomatoes up there, weren't there before. And this pretty little stock boy wearing glasses and a red sweater, just sitting there like that. That used to surprise me, Joe. I wonder what he's doing now. Anybody that's good at stocking groceries probably went pretty far. Yeah, then there was Commander-in-Chief Harry's Haberdashery. It's this place where the former President of the United States owned it, and he franchised it. It was a hat store. And then there was Uncle Elby's General Store. Nobody ever went in here because he had this sarcastic dog that used to always look at me like he was the stupidest being on earth. So nobody ever went into Uncle Elby's General Store. No, they all went to Paul Kent's. Stock boys sterilized all the cans with super speed. Yeah, then there was the fly-by-night travel agency. That was replaced. That was replaced by Transport Connections Unlimited. But back when I was wandering down the main drag, that was the fly-by-night travel agency. It was a pretty seedy looking dump too, I gotta tell you. But right next to there was the Old Temperance Hotel. Oh man, I'll tell you, right next to the bus station. The Old Temperance Hotel fell on some pretty hard times. They were putting up signs in the hotel saying things like, no smoking opium in the elevators, and sleep quickly because we need the pillows. Guests are responsible for the disposal of all dead bodies. Well, they tore that down and replaced it with this place. It's even more depressing. It was called Suicidal Pizza. Pepperoni, mozzarella, tomato sauce, and pudding cream. That didn't last very long. Top stove for that death violation. But then we get up into the kind of sleazy part of town. We go further north, the Lakeside District. You had the Fresh Air Taxi Company. Except those two black fellas that were in there were too busy jawing all the time to ever take anybody anywhere. I like to watch him anyway. I even went home to change my shirt. My mom says, "What the hell are you doing in here? You were just in here a half an hour ago." I said, "Mom, I was back up by the Midvale Orphanage, the lodges. They had all these lodges up